Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Roblox, which is apparently currently in the midst of a new federal government investigation, which is some pretty weird news because we typically don't see anything quite like this in gaming. It's pretty rare when the government really gets involved in any meaningful way. So the few times that it actually does happen and it makes the news, obviously people are a little weirded out. And of course, it doesn't help that Roblox on, the front website, all of the marketing, especially if you've ever played Roblox, you'll notice it's this really easygoing kids main game where obviously it's like this multiverse of different games, probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of different games and mini games and stuff that you can play. And so it always kind of has like this layer of innocence to it in most people's mind where obviously since it's a primarily child's game, you just would think that it's online, safe, secure, no problems, right? It's just this like great thing. But obviously, I think I've covered this a few times here on the channel in the last few years, but there's been concerns with Roblox as a company from a lot of different people for things like child safety. And then apparently there may be even more to look into here according to the US Securities Exchange Commission, which they're usually investigating like larger companies, or like companies that you would think quicker to mind if it was a situation like this than Roblox. Usually you would think like Securities Exchange Commission or something, it's like some sort of market fraud or it's like a antitrust investigation, something like that, right? But that's not really what's going on here with Roblox, but apparently it's important enough to be getting looked into here. So before we get into this, I just want to go ahead and say if you're brand new around here on the channel, make sure you hit like and subscribe so you don't miss any more uploads from me. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video. So Roblox Corp, the video game service used by millions of young people, is part of an active investigation by the US Securities and Exchange Commission, according to information obtained by Bloomberg News. Responding to a Freedom of Information Act request, the commission said in a letter Friday that it couldn't share correspondence between staffers referencing Roblox, saying it could cause, quote, harm to the ongoing enforcement proceeding. Quote, we have confirmed with Division of Enforcement staff that there are responsive emails between enforcement staff referencing Roblox and that these emails are part of an active and ongoing investigation, the commission said. Bloomberg News couldn't confirm the subject of the investigation. Roblox didn't respond to requests for comment, and the SEC declined to make any additional comment. Hunter Brook Media reported in November that Roblox was under investigation by the SEC, citing Freedom of Information Act requests. Hunter Brook cited an October letter from the commission saying it was withholding documents, quote, which could reasonably be expected to interfere with enforcement activities. Its affiliate Hunter Brook Capital had a short position in the shares. In October, the now defunct short seller Hindenburg Research published a report on child safety concerns at Roblox and also alleged that the company had inflated its metrics, including the number of users who regularly play Roblox games and the amount of time they spend on average on the platform. Quote, we totally reject the claims made in the report, a Roblox spokesperson said at the time. Quote, the authors are admittedly short sellers and have an agenda irrespective of the substance of Roblox's business model and results. Hindenburg Research announced it was disbanding in January. So as of right now, the two, leading theories on what this investigation could be about are regarding child safety and online protection, or has Roblox essentially been pumping up their numbers, falsifying the documents, basically telling their shareholders and anyone else involved in the finances of the company basically that things are going better than they actually are. So, as the article states, the SEC is keeping their cards pretty close to their chest on this one. They don't really seem to be too interested or too keen on sharing actual intricate details of the investigation, really much of anything regarding what's going on. But we do know with those Freedom of Information Acts being basically released, we do know that something is going on, and Roblox, at least maybe since November, has been getting quietly investigated by the federal government. So obviously either of these two things, these two leading theories, could be pretty catastrophic to the company. And now on the one hand, like I said, there's been been a long-standing kind of, I would guess, rumor or even global issue, really, with safety on Roblox. There's been stories of like childhood game developers being like basically groomed by grown people on the website, kids just innocently trying to play games and being harassed once again by weird people with odd intentions online. There's a lot of different things that Roblox has kind of had controversies with and problems with because of obviously the fact that when you have so many of your audience or your users or whatever that are children, there's an elevated level of like security you have to basically put in place because like the anonymity of the internet, it provides this weird barrier where it becomes easy in some instances like this for kids to kind of let their guard down since they're playing like a video game or whatever, and then some fucking weirdo is just on there like talking to your child. It's a really scary thing, and I really do think that parents especially should be doing more to like monitor who your kids are talking to online, what kind of things they're doing online, because honestly, even just like being a little bit nosy when it comes to that probably drastically improves like the chances of your child to have a more normal experience online, right? But obviously there's hundreds of millions of users at this point for Roblox on a monthly basis. I looked it up, and apparently last year they had reached that 380 million monthly active user threshold in the second quarter. So it's pretty odds are looking good that maybe 400 plus million people are actively using this game every single month. There's a lot of people on there who are vulnerable to odd people online. So if the Securities and Exchange Commission is looking into Roblox because of this, then obviously that would be very detrimental to the brand and the marketing of Roblox. It already has been in the past. I mean, there's been news stories about this shit. Like I said, there's been a lot of people who've talked about this prior. I think even here on this channel, I've talked at least once or twice about weird instances of stuff like this happening on games like Roblox. And given the fact that it's considered like a family-friendly online experience that a lot of parents rely on to keep their kids happy, or it's like the game that their kid loves the most or whatever, that would not be good for the brand, for there to be a federal investigation basically into child safety. Now, honestly, would it be for the best? Probably, if that were the case, because if there is any sort of like problem with the enforcement or some sort of security problem with Roblox that the government can point out and, actually highlight to be fixed or forced to be fixed somehow, that will be beneficial in the long term. But also there's the other angle of this. Now, I don't think a lot of people even know that Roblox is a publicly traded entity at this point. So like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, Roblox went public on the stock market, and it's just been kind of doing its thing the last couple years, mostly been down, but it's a publicly traded stock that you can buy on the stock market. And so obviously as a company doing that, they have to go through all of the same hoops and all of the same paperwork and documents and quarterly earnings calls and whatnot that basically every other company has to go through. So for a company like Roblox, where it's a free-to-play game that they're offering, the real value in terms of like what shareholders see, obviously the revenue numbers are going to be important from memberships and microtransactions or whatever, but also they want to see increasing numbers of user retention, new accounts being created, total monthly active players, all of these metrics and these analytics that basically measure the overall success of the game as it continues to go. Those are important numbers. So there is also the possibility that, as even these short sellers have been guessing now for months, Roblox has been getting accused of possibly falsifying some of the info that people would be making decisions based on, which obviously is a huge crime. It's not something that you can do and get away with very easily. Now, admittedly, the short sellers, they have a financial interest in seeing Roblox's stock go down, because if you're short selling the stock, you make money when the value of the stock goes down. It's like you're basically betting for it to lose, right? So these people obviously had a vested interest in claiming that Roblox is fudging the numbers because it can spook investors, make them want to pull their money away from it, which obviously would drop the stock. So there is a conflict of interest when it comes to the report, but it does seem to have a little bit more, credit landed its way when now the SEC of all people are knocking on Roblox's door wanting to know what's going on in the company. So there's really these two different outcomes, and truth be told, either or, it's not going to be a good look for Roblox if they do get nabbed on either of this. I mean, it's totally possible that it could be either of these things. Like I said, child safety has been a concern before for the company. It definitely seems like it probably still is, right? I don't really play Roblox or pay much attention to it anymore, anymore outside of like this video, but I'm gonna have to assume that these problems just didn't disappear, right? Now, at the same time, they could also be fudging the numbers financially and committing like a huge on paper, you know, above the corporate thing kind of crime that could get them fined, you know, fucked with by the government. And not only that, but also scare investors away from the company, which is never going to be a good thing for a company that's publicly traded. So there is also the possibility that neither of these things are even what's going to be discussed in this investigation or like targeted, I guess, by the SEC. Maybe they have found some sort of new issue, or there's been reports of a new issue that other people haven't really gotten to yet, and we're going to find out something more, I guess, shocking or whatever here. But also, to be fair, it is also entirely possible that all of this is just noise and this investigation may go nowhere. Maybe Roblox is just gonna walk away from this unscathed. The issue is we really don't know. And until we know exactly what the SEC is honing in on here out of the two possible, maybe even likely issues here, it's going to be hard to really figure out what's going to happen to them going forward. Now, I mean, I got to assume that a lot of investors are going to be kind of shook by the news. Looking at the stock the last couple of days, it has been down a little bit. It did recover some of the losses from all of this news and whatnot, but the stock did hit an all-time high all the way back in fall of 2022 at about $125. It's currently about $67, so it is up over the last like 2 years or so when it was like down in the 20s, 30s, 40s, but I mean, just even off this news, it did dip a little bit, so I guess we'll have to wait and see really what happens to Roblox here, but it's just pretty insane to see something like this go down with them. I mean, like I said, most gaming companies, they don't ever really draw this kind of attention. They don't ever have like a headline really about something like this, so especially out of all the game companies, I would have thought it'd have been like EA or Ubisoft or Activision Blizzard, you know what I mean? I didn't really think it was coming Roblox's way, but I mean, that's what the news is. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about Roblox getting investigated and signing out.